Advice from a marine researcher. Stay away from dead whales that washed ashore. They might be hiding something terrible. Before I recount the events I witnessed, I must let you know that I have signed a confidentiality agreement and would not be able to reveal everything in detail. I shouldn't be saying anything at all, but this has haunted me for months now, and I feel like people should know about what happened. A few months ago, I had the precious opportunity to participate in a marine research program as an intern. You might have seen the news about a worrying spike in dead whales washing ashore during this time. Because of this, one of my assignments was to accompany more senior researchers in collecting samples to research on the cause of the spike. It was my first time in the field, and as someone who had loved the wonders of the ocean since a young age, I was excited to get started. Little did I know how wrong everything would go. The first thing I noticed when I arrived at the beach was the smell. Mixed in with the scent of the ocean, it was a pungent odor of the beginning of decay that burned my nostrils despite the gear I was wearing. Several researchers with me coughed and quipped about feeling nauseous. Even so, we trudged on, inwardly cringing as the smell only became more pronounced as we got closer. Smell aside, I thought that the sight was sad. To think that what was once such a glorious and majestic creature would end up as a carcass on the shore. Before we could collect our samples, we had the important task of supervising the support staff and making sure that the whale wouldn't explode. It sounds odd, yes, but there's been records of whale carcasses exploding because of the buildup of gas in the decomposition process. To prevent this, a puncture had to be made at the side of the whale to allow the gas to slowly leak out. As I watched, transfixed, I heard grumbles from one of my fellow interns. I'll call him Bill here. God, he complained, this stinks. I just want to get this over with and go home. I held back the urge to scoff. I never liked Bill, since he always gave off the impression of being overconfident and arrogant. The process was longer than expected. Slowly, the support staff cut and drilled through layers of thick skin, blubber, and muscle. Alerting us all, one of them suddenly screamed. Several others followed suit, falling back in shock with eyes widened like saucers. Everyone clamored and quickly moved to see what the commotion was about. Then, we saw it. Something was peeking through the punctured hole. Familiar, yet so alien at the same time. Everyone knew what it was. There was a moment of silence before someone spoke up. Is that a human face? Do you know how naked mole rats look? Examining the structure of their faces, despite being covered by thick skin, you'd be able to vaguely discern where their eyes would have been if they weren't so degenerated over the course of evolution. That face, peeking through the hole, looked like that of a mole rat, except human. You'd be able to identify a human mouth, nose, and what was once eyes, covered by skin like a creature that had dwelled in darkness for a long time. I could tell that everyone had the same thoughts running through their heads. What was that thing? How did it get inside the whale? Was it alive? Before anyone could make another sound, the face moved, slowly tilting left and right, uncannily, like a human would when taking in their surroundings. I wanted to throw up on the spot. The face seemed to extend out of the hole next, revealing a long neck and a human torso. But much like its eyes, its arms seemed to be degenerated too, reduced to stubs that flapped around as it slithered out, covered in the whale's decaying body fluid. The creature's whole body was on display when it flopped to the sand with a sickening squelch. Below its torso, a long and thin flap of flesh divided by a faint line, like a vestigial pair of legs. We watched it raise its head, opening its mouth wide as if to take in the air. No one paid attention to Bill until he was up in front of the creature. I never understood what he was thinking, to get so close to that monstrous thing. Maybe he wanted to take credit for the discovery of a new creature. Maybe he was just drawn by something. But within an instant, the creature had released an unearthly high-pitched squeal and launched itself onto Bill's arm. Bill shouted and tried to shake the creature off, but it seemed to latch onto him tightly. As people moved to help him, the whale shook and the puncture widened. Dozens of the creatures spilled out, falling onto everyone below them. It was so surreal that I couldn't believe my eyes. A pile of flesh, blood, and viscera was formed. There was a cacophony of screams, squeals, and the sound of bones being crunched up. I remember running away from that nightmare as fast as I could. It was cowardly, I know, but my self-preservation instincts took over. I was found later, shivering and huddling myself up. Although I wasn't injured, I was nonetheless taken to the hospital for an examination and was made to sign a confidentiality agreement there. No news on the incident ever surfaced, and the research program was never talked about again. I never received any answers on what I witnessed and was left to be haunted by visions of that day. The only advice I can give to you all after what I had experienced is stay away from dead whales that washed ashore. They might be hiding something terrible. If you enjoyed today's video, please like and subscribe. I upload every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Make sure you keep your notifications on so you don't miss next week. Have a good day.